Let's do the demonstration of cubital fossa. This is the anterior view of elbow region where the skin is removed to expose the superficial structures of cubital fossa. So cubital fossa is a triangular depression in front of elbow joint. In this specimen, we can see the contents of superficial fascia which forms part of the roof of cubital fossa. Let's check its orientation. So this is the superior, inferior, medial, lateral. So we can say this as superior end by looking at biceps brachii muscle. So biceps brachii runs superficially in the arm. So which is a superficial muscle of arm, and if we trace the biceps brachii, it continues as tendon and aponeurosis. And we can say this as the medial end because it is more convex on the medial side compared to lateral. So that's how we can designate the orientation of cubital fossa, which is superior, which is inferior, which is medial and lateral. And now look at this biceps brachii, and as we know it continues to form tendon of biceps. Here in this image we cannot see clearly as the tendon of biceps is the content of cubital fossa where we are seeing the roof now. So we can appreciate bicipital aponeurosis. So bicipital aponeurosis forms the roof. The other name for bicipital aponeurosis is lacertus fibrosus, which forms the part of roof of cubital fossa. This broad sheet separates the superficial from deep structures, and it reinforces the cubital fossa and helps to protect the brachial artery and median nerve which are running underneath the bicipital aponeurosis. So let's see some superficial structures. Superficial veins. The first one, we shall go with the cephalic vein, which is present on the lateral aspect. And medially, the vein which we can appreciate is the basilic vein, which is seen on the medial side. And these two veins are communicated by an obliquely running vein called as median cubital vein. So medial cubital vein is the vein of choice for venipuncture and the site for intravenous cannula, because this vein won't slip away during needle insertion as it lies superficial to bicipital aponeurosis. And this bicipital aponeurosis stabilizes the median cubital vein, and the other reason is it has got a wide lumen and easily accessible. So these are the reasons for choosing the median cubital vein as the vein of choice for venipuncture. And as the bicipital aponeurosis separates the brachial artery and median nerve from the median cubital vein, so this acts as a protection and for brachial artery and median cubital vein during venipuncture, means during inserting the needle we won't puncture the brachial artery and the median nerve because the median cubital vein is separated from these important structures by bicipital aponeurosis. Let's see some cutaneous nerves. On medial aspect, termination of medial cutaneous nerve of arm, and we can also see medial cutaneous nerve of forearm. So we can see these two nerves together. Medial cutaneous nerve of arm, we can see it is terminating in the arm itself, in the lower part of arm, whereas medial cutaneous nerve of forearm, we can see some branches of it. So this is one branch, here is the one branch, and which divides into branches to supply the medial side of forearm. The nerve which passes behind the cephalic vein is lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm. So here is the cephalic vein and this is the lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm. So these are the superficial structures which we can demonstrate in this particular specimen. So this is image of the same specimen after removing superficial fascia and veins to expose bicipital aponeurosis and lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm. So here is the superior, inferior, medial, lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm, So we can see clearly lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm, which becomes superficial after crossing biceps brachii. So the tendon and aponeurosis of biceps brachii are seen clearly here. Tendon of biceps, aponeurosis of biceps. So the tendon and aponeurosis of biceps are seen clearly here, and the aponeurosis blends with the deep fascia of forearm. And look at here, one more cutaneous nerve is present, which is posterior cutaneous nerve of forearm, which is the branch of radial nerve. So this posterior cutaneous nerve of forearm, which is a branch of radial nerve, it perforates the lateral head of triceps to become superficial and innervates the back of forearm up to the wrist. And cut ends of perforating veins are also seen, and we can also see the cut ends of basilic veins as well. So these are the structures which we can appreciate after removing some of the superficial contents. So let's do little more deep dissection. Here in this specimen, further we remove the bicipital aponeurosis to expose the contents of cubital fossa and demarcate the boundaries of cubital fossa. So superior, medial, lateral, inferior. So let's check out the boundaries. So the medial boundary is formed by pronata teres. Lateral boundary is formed by brachioradialis, and apex is the meeting point of both medial and lateral boundaries. So apex would be directed down, and base is formed by an imaginary line connecting the epicondyles of humerus. So these are the boundaries of cubital fossa. Let's see the contents. Medial to lateral, the medial most content, what we can appreciate here is the median nerve. So median nerve which passes between the two heads of pronata teres to enter into the forearm. And we can also see the brachial artery lies medial to the median nerve. So brachial artery is along with its veins which are called as vena committantis. These two are vena committantis. And brachial artery terminally divides into radial and ulnar arteries. And ulnar artery goes deeper, whereas the brachial artery is superficial. So just observe in the lower part of cubital fossa, where we can see the brachial artery terminally divides to form radial artery and ulnar. So here we can appreciate the radial artery, and ulnar artery is not seen because it goes deeper in the cubital fossa. Let's do still more deeper dissection to understand more about cubital fossa and its boundaries. So further here we remove the contents to see the boundaries clearly. Medial boundary is formed by pronata teres, where it gains its origin partly from common flexor origin, which is the medial supracondylar ridge, and medial epicondyle of humerus forms the common flexor origin. And we can see the pronata teres, it runs further as obliquely towards the radial side. We can see it runs towards the radial side to insert into the radius. The lateral boundary of the cubital fossa is formed by brachioradialis. So brachioradialis, it gets origin from the lateral supracondylar ridge. So it gets origin from the lateral supracondylar ridge, and it runs downwards on the radial side of forearm, and it gets inserted to the radius, lower end of the radius. Biceps brachii muscle is removed and cut part of tendon is observed deeply. So try to observe deeply. So we can see the cut end of biceps brachii, and we can well appreciate the brachialis. Brachialis is well demonstrated as we removed biceps. So brachialis is a deeper muscle of arm which forms the upper part of the floor of cubital fossa. We can also observe it converges deeper to insert into ulnar tuberosity. The proximal limit of the cubital fossa, which is considered as the base of the triangle, it is an imaginary line connecting both medial and lateral epicondyles. So these are the boundaries of cubital fossa. This is the same specimen where we can see some more structures where the boundaries are retracted to expose other floor muscles. So next to the cut end of biceps tendon, the muscle here is the supinator. This is the tendon of biceps. So next to the tendon of biceps, we can see the supinator muscle, which is pierced by the branch of radial nerve. The deep branch of radial nerve is the posterior interosseous nerve, which pierces the supinator muscle. And here is the radial nerve before its division. And we can also appreciate the superficial branch of radial, which passes superficial to supinator muscle. So here is the deeper dissection where we can see the retraction of brachioradialis muscle to expose the posterior interosseous nerve and superficial branch of radial. So this is a deeper dissection to expose the radial nerve and its branches, and we can also appreciate supinator, which forms the lower part of the floor of cubital fossa here. So this is the retracted part of brachioradialis where we can see the branches of radial nerve as posterior interosseous nerve and superficial branch of radial nerve. And we can also appreciate the posterior interosseous nerve piercing the supinator muscle. And supinator forms the lower part of the floor of cubital fossa, whereas brachialis forms the upper part of floor of cubital fossa. So this completes the demonstration of cubital fossa. Thank you.